So, Masters,
Yes.
I do have to say something very, very important um,
Okay.
right here, which is kind of unfortunate that I have to say this given the present circumstance in which we are in.
I was right.
About?
I don't. I don't know what about yet, but That's where I'm thinking this is going.
No, not that.
Oh.
Um, I have to say this. Hold my beer.
Oh.
I can't believe that worked a third time. Mumbles is gonna be so bad. And I still don't really know what I'm doing, but that's okay. How's your week been, Mr. Masters?
Pretty great.
Good,
And
good.
busy at the
Oh,
same time.
I can understand that. My week has also been rather busy, unfortunately. I have delved into new depths of 3D printed madness, which is saying something because I was already pretty deep in there. I am now using binary epoxy sealant. No idea. To put stuff together and printing stuff in multiple parts. Major steps forward in that. And I printed a complete other Baby Yoda. Or, sorry, Grogu. My mistake. It's hard. Like, everybody is still... What was the meme that got posted about that? Where was that? Was that in just general?
It was in D&D memes, I think,
No,
or maybe it was in general.
I think it was in general. Yeah, I recognize the council's made a decision, but given that it's a stupid decision, I've elected to ignore it. Most people are right there. Yes, the name is Grogu. However,
I don't care what the name is.
uh-huh.
You guys can hate the name all you want. He was never Baby Yoda. Never.
The
He's
child.
not Baby Yoda.
I printed a new version of the child.
That is acceptable.
Okay. Colloquial term that everyone understands. You don't want to accept. They'll be ignored. Let me mute these folks for an hour. Because otherwise, we're going to have a lot of little boops and stuff in the midst of this podcast. Not that we're not going to have those anyway, but I'm just going to try and limit them. Otherwise, I'm trying to be a good team player. More or less. Oh crap, now I gotta narrate this thing again. How did like the character who I made, I mean, I guess I did make him to be... Okay, I designed him to be unkillable, not to actually be effective in combat. Oh, I'm almost disappointed. Oh. Also, how is this the best rolls that I've had in anything in like a month or more? Masters, are you still listening?
Yes.
Okay. You're just not answering me, man. It's supposed to be a conversation.
I'm trying to type and listen and talk all at the same time, and I can only do two of those at once.
Now, see, I did ask the question. Should we postpone for a little bit? I could find something to do for a couple more minutes here.
This absolutely has nothing to do with anything productive. I'm posting into VTM, the vampire game.
Oh, yeah, I'm not part of that. Are you? Yeah. Did you also jump into the Mass Effect one? Because
absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Good luck. I figured one is enough. I am really actually surprised that we are still going on this one. I thought for sure last week it was not going to make it until Tuesday. And here we are, and it's actually kind of halfway revived.
Yeah, Mumbles has a softer heart than I do.
I mean, I almost feel bad about the Huskin group here because we have kind of pushed Foxy into being a leader, and Foxy is
No,
not.
he wanted to be that.
He wanted to be
That is what he requested.
No, in fairness, he requested to be the pilot. And then
Yes.
he rolled up a character, or didn't roll up. He created a character that had terrible piloting skills, and like by accident, mine was better. And I'm like, oh well, crap. So I tried to make something else, and it still is a better pilot than he is. Yeah. So he became the captain rather than the pilot, and he's not equipped to be the captain. Yeah, not at all. I would make a very good captain. In fact, I'm kind of co-captaining from the gunnery chair right now. Like 4 of his last major decisions have been as a result of DMs between him and me. He's like, "What do I do now?" I'm like,
Yeah, because he wanted to be the leader, so I'm not leading. If yeah, so I refuse. I absolutely refuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting situation here where it's like, because I try to be very deferential in my roleplay. I try to give people the space that they need, and apparently Foxy needs a little bit less space. Apparently, at least in this regard. Oh crap! I just launched a spring across my room. That's fun. So what have you been occupying yourself with this week, Mr. Masters?
Work, lots and lots of work.
That's the worst thing.
We have a major high-profile shipment going out Monday that I've been trying to get information on, and it literally took me all of this week to get people to respond to me with appropriate information.
Right.
And so I've got all the information now. So Monday, I'm going into work for less distractions and more computer screens, so that I can get all the paperwork done. And then uh, my coworker's replacement starts Monday, so I'll be doing that, and then getting the shipment out. And then also had an issue with our trailer. The HVAC system went out, so I was working with maintenance to get that fixed. It was a busy week.
Sounds like it. We're both just typing away madly here. We're supposed to be podcasting.
Well, we're super good at this. Remember, World's Worst Podcast.
Exactly. Mine's nice and simple though, because I'm just telling them, hey, let's go before they start shooting at us again. So yeah, this has been a bit of an odd week. I mean, okay, not odd week, just like weird stuff is available for us to talk about. Should we start with the proposed big one?
Sure. Which one is that?
WandaVision?
Okay. I thoroughly enjoyed this week's episode of WandaVision. This week's episode of WandaVision is what the past 4 should have been.
Again, I'll be an apologist for
Yeah, everybody else disagrees with me, but I'm 100% on board that should be the case.
In terms of the actual narrative of what's going on, I agree. It could have started at episode 4. But in terms of setting the stage, yeah, episodes 1 through 3 are not. I think that they could have condensed episodes 1 through 3 into a single episode if they had wanted to. But I think they were having too much fun with the idea of just recreating old television shows. And they just like, oh, let's just make a whole television show, and then we'll just throw something weird at the end and call it an episode.
Yeah.
It's that great Ian Malcolm quote from Jurassic Park. Your scientists were so concerned about whether or not they could do something, they never stopped to consider whether they should, or if they should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, this episode was great. My favorite part of the episode was right there at the end, where they replaced Pietro.
Yes.
With the X-Men Flash, or not Flash, X-Men
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
and they flash back out to reality, and they're like, she recast Pietro. It's like, yes, Wanda recast it. Pay no attention to the guy behind the curtain pulling all the strings. Definitely wasn't the producers of the show. It was 100% Wanda.
I mean, there's something to be said here about that.
It 100% alludes to the fact that Disney now owns Fox and the X-Men.
Well, not even so much that. There's some conjecture that this is the way that the mutants and X-Men are being introduced. Like this is the thing. And I'm like, man, if that's the way you're doing it, what a cheap throwaway gag to make it happen.
It was great though. I loved it.
Like, I'm not saying it wasn't smart or intelligent or like anything, but it's like, really? That's how you want to do this. I think that there's probably a lot better way they could have done that. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just a peon watching. If that's the case.
It's still all speculation at this point.
Still all speculation at this point. However, he's there.
Yeah.
And, like, they're paying him money. Like, that lineless 15-second spot is probably $120,000. Congratulations, fella. Thank you for showing up on set today and looking surprised for a second. I'm sure it wasn't hard when they told you how much they were paying you for how little you had to do. They're really going to pay me for that? I guess he did, say, did adopt like a weird Boston accent, be like, "Hey, bro," kind of thing. It's like, okay. I do like that Vision is starting to figure it out, or that Vision has figured it out. Well, he knows what's going on, but I don't think he understands why or how.
Yeah. So,
and the thing. Go ahead. I'll stop. I'll hold my thought.
Yeah, a lot of good questions come out of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why can't she control the kids? And are the kids even real? If they leave the hex, what happens to them? If Vision leaves the hex, does he die again? Just so many questions that make me want to know the answers. Whereas my questions in the first 3 episodes were, why am I watching this?
So, I think what's happening with Wanda, and I'm reevaluating everything, because originally I thought she was going to come to the conclusion that all powers are bad and she was going to turn into a villain, which I think would have actually been a very compelling story, and I would love to see that. Marvel, you have that other series coming up. What's it? What Marvel's What If, the animated thing? Explore that. I mean, not that you aren't already have it written, storyboarded, half animated, everything, and definitely not going in that direction. But hey, I would be really interested to see if that had happened. But I think we're now going to come to the place where she might still turn villain on us. Also, okay, I'm going to finish my thought and then I'm going to start throwing shade. So I think we're going to come to the point where she just comes to the stark realization that she is alone and there's nothing she can do to fix it. I don't think the kids are real. I don't think that Vision is actually alive. I think his body is just being kept alive by whatever she has going on.
So that also answered the question from episode 4 when she saw his face.
Mm-hmm.
that I think that is what he actually looks like, and she is just like,
Slipping.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Her every time her control slips, something goes awry, and then and
Yeah.
then freaks out, and then there's the cutbacks and the rewinds and the try this again sort of thing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. The Agnes is now creepy. Like Agnes was creepy like in episode
Oh,
one, but Agnes is way
yeah.
creepier now. Where
Yes, absolutely.
as soon as Agnes broke the fourth wall,
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, is it the fourth wall or is it like the fifth wall? Since she's breaking the fourth wall of a show inside of another show.
but she's actually a controlled person who understands that they're a controlled
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
I think that that's also a sign that Wanda is slipping,
Yeah.
because otherwise that would have never come about.
Or maybe there are certain people in there that have some sort of mutant abilities or some other sort of superpowers that we don't know of yet.
Some form of autonomy.
Yeah, where
Uh,
they're where they like they understand that she is in control and they can hear her thoughts, but they could also fight against it if they wanted to, but they know that it wouldn't do any good because Wanda is way more powerful than they are. Just so many good questions.
I mean, I would be totally on board with that if the town she took over was Westchester, New York. But but as this is Westview, New Jersey, kind of not likely. I mean, I I don't know enough about the comics. There's probably some massive conspiracy in the comics that goes
So
back decades
there
about Westview, New Jersey that I'm unaware of. But
there is a thing my sister sent me of a theory that's going around about. Let me see if I can find his name. Uh, Not that one. Um, play. Nope. I don't want to hear you. I really wish you could fast forward TikToks. I hate TikToks so freaking much.
um, in general, I don't interact with them as much as possible, which is
I only interact with them when my sister sends me one,
mm,
and she's been doing that a lot here recently. But continue with your thought, and when I have it, I'll speak up.
I'm going to rag on TikTok for a second. We were so close last presidency to getting rid of it.
I know, right? Oh, here we go. I found his name.
Yeah.
Ah, crap! I can only pause. I can't rewind. Go back to where I can see his name. Okay. Uh, Mephisto.
Mephisto, yeah.
Mephisto.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
Basically,
Mephisto.
basically the devil.
Yes. So apparently, Wanda in the comics used Mephisto's essence or something
Hmm.
to create her twins. And so they are part of him somehow, and also something about mutants. I don't know. But he's apparently uh, in league with all. I don't know, something like that. So there's a theory going around that maybe he's actually the one controlling pulling the strings everywhere. So
He could be, and it's highly likely that we're going to see Mephisto. Mephisto's probably going to be the big bad of Phase 4 and probably even into Phase 5, because they're really pushing this interdimensional thing.
hmm
But we are probably not actually going to see him on screen until Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness,
yeah,
because that really is his domain. Mephisto is like contemporaries with a bunch of like very powerful, very old entities. Like one of his, not that they're friends or anything, but if they were to be friends, like one of his oldest companions, as it would have been Dormammu from the first um, Doctor Strange movie. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Um, so yeah, and like he's an old Doctor Strange villain. Like back in the 70s, I think is when he first made his appearance, and then he's gone around and generally caused chaos in the MC in not the MCU in the Marvel universes since then. Um, he's not the most powerful. There's like Dormammu, Mephisto, the Beyonder, and I think there's like one other one, maybe Kang the Conqueror, who are like really old guys who are just like they're there. No one quite knows where they came from. No one quite knows how to get rid of them. They're like universal constants of chaos, which is, I mean, just kind of a cool concept when you really think about it. But, yeah, Mephisto is it. He might have something to do with it, but I don't really see that as being the case. Yeah. There was a couple parts in this episode that I thought were very ham-fisted that I really didn't appreciate. Where they're just like they're pounding an idea at you, and they're setting something else up. Like when they're in the briefing room and the head guy, I forget what his name is. I'm not going on IMDb again until the season is over, because last time I went on there something got spoiled, and I'm not going to go scrolling through stuff and see Mephisto pop up and be like, no. I will be surprised on the next episode. I didn't realize that, because I was just looking up, Geraldine, and like, oh, that's Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel. Crap. Now I know. Nothing I can do about that. And actually, she did get renamed at one point from Captain Marvel to something else. I forget what the other name was. She's my Captain Marvel. I'm a purist. Anyway.
Oh my goodness! Did you see what's her face flinch when they talked about Captain Marvel?
Monica?
Whatever her name is, I can't remember. The black lady.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just saying. Of course she flinched. She is the little girl who was in Captain Marvel, all grown up.
Yeah.
And she eventually becomes Captain Marvel.
Yep, we talked about that last week.
And we talked about it for the last couple weeks. And yes, I absolutely saw her flinch. Yes, that was pretty obvious. Again, not that wasn't like the worst bit of writing, but like, I mean, that was just like a little wink and a nod kind of thing. What was very ham-fisted was when they're in the briefing room and they're like, well, Wanda Maximoff, and they're like, doesn't she have a name? No, she doesn't have a name. What do you mean a name? Well, I mean, like Spider-Man or like, no, she's just Wanda Maximoff. Oh, okay. It's like, okay, give it 3 more episodes and she'll be the Scarlet Witch, like she always was supposed to be. Deal with it. I was like, really? Really? You guys are going to be that obvious about what you're doing here? There's nothing I can do to stop it. Although, that'd be really weird. So think about this. They're introducing mutants now, and they've got other Quicksilver. Actually, probably better Quicksilver. Sorry, other guy. Got better now that they have better Quicksilver in here. There's an issue that has now arisen that if he is actually her brother now in this continuity timeline meshing of the universes, whatever, that means that his father will be coming with him, who is also her father in that continuity and timeline, and she will now have a father who she never knew, who is like, why are you being cold to me, daughter? Who, for those who are uneducated, is Magneto. Michael Fassbender. Kind of curious to see how that one's going to play out.
Yeah.
Are you still distracted, Masters?
Yes, interesting things are happening, Gavi.
What interesting things? What could possibly be interesting?
I'm playing a hacker.
You're playing a hacker.
And I'm really good at it. Yeah. I hacked into a security feed inside of a bar. We're trying to catch some bad guys.
Okay. That's fantastic. Yeah. Why don't you tell me about it, Masters? Give me the rundown.
So, we are vampires trying to figure out who is causing suspicion to be brought upon the eyes of the vampires, therefore breaking the masquerade, um, that we don't exist.
Hmm.
Um, and um, we're trying to figure out who is behind it. We followed some clues to lead us to some werewolves. Turns out that it wasn't them. So we went to tell the Baron, who is the overseer of our city, the head honcho of the vampires in our area,
Yep.
um, to tell him it wasn't the werewolves and that it's probably an actual vampire that's doing this, whether it be of a specific sect that is just against the rules or an outlier doing it by themselves.
Okay.
Um, that is when my first character, got killed for breaking the masquerade, because I built her wrong, so I wanted her to die. Um, and I created a new character, and my new character is awesome. And I just hacked into some Wi-Fi security cameras, and I think we have found our culprits. So
Was it you, or at least first you?
no,
Oh,
first me is dead.
I mean, like, were they part of the cabal?
No, they were not.
Magic. That would have been a great. That would have been a great addition, I think.
No, my my first me was really bad with technology, because she was born in 1908.
Uh huh.
And so she didn't realize that there could be cameras in the elevator where she just murdered, or not murdered. She sucked the blood out of two guys.
That's generally called murder.
Well, no, they lived.
Oh, and she
Yeah,
didn't do
I
a
didn't
very good
suck.
job.
Well, we're not supposed to kill, so we just drink enough blood to knock them out for a couple hours, and then eventually they get enough blood to wake up, um, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I was caught on camera, so originally it wouldn't have mattered. I wouldn't have been caught on camera, but then I wanted to be a different character, so Mumbles was like, "Yeah, there was a camera that caught you on tape." So yeah.
Hmm.
And with my new character, I have learned. So I've been manipulating this camera in the bar, trying to look around at people. So so I zoomed it back out and recorded a bunch of footage of it, of just general bar happenings, and then I'm setting that on a loop, and replacing the recordings on the camera with this loop, so that nobody notices
Right.
that we were there.
So you basically made a character that's the polar opposite of the first one that you made.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, not polar opposite. They're actually from the same clan. Um, it's just this one is better suited for what the clan offers,
Mm-hmm.
which is shadow manipulation. Um, so yeah,
Does it have its own dice system, or is it the same as one of the
yes,
other ones
it
we
does.
have?
No, it has its own. It's a D10 system.
Okay.
Um, so like in um, Star Wars, we have however many of that skill, we have that many dice, and then if we're proficient, we upgrade one of the dice.
Uh huh.
This one, it's however many you have of that skill, that's how many dice you roll. And
Okay.
there's a set number for difficulty that is generally 6, if unless otherwise specified, and you have to roll above that number
Mm-hmm.
in order to um
To win
in,
or succeed.
in order to succeed. And then ones count as failures and tens count as successes, automatic. Um, and so if you roll more failures than successes, you fail, and yada yada yada.
Hmm. Real quick, I have to say how much I love that J Seed is really paying attention to what's going on.
JC never pays attention to what's going on.
Like the last thing that was posted in here is combat ends here. J Seed. If things get real desperate, strap me full of thermal detonators and toss me out the back hatch at them. If I can't shoot a gun, I'll blow something up. It sounds like he wants to leave. Almost. I don't know. It's it's just weird, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
So
I don't think I was well suited for play by post as I am for otherwise, but
yeah, you're not.
I mean, I am keeping up properly with Heskin now.
Now.
I mean, I took a week off because it seemed like everything was just going to be like, it looked like it was going to die. And
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
like, well, if nobody
So
else cares, why should I care? And
so
then,
on the ranking system of worst player in Heskin to best player in Heskin, taking myself out of the running because I would be biased, we have J Seed,
okay,
who posts randomly that and doesn't read apparently.
he is a non sequitur. Like that's
Yeah,
what he is. He just throws something in there that was not related at all was going on. But go ahead, sure, why not?
yeah.
We'll just
Then
ignore
we
you and
have
move on with life.
Foxy, who is an overanalyzer, not a good role player. He overthinks everything, underthinks the wrong things,
Mm-hmm.
and then just is not
And it's
good
also
at role play yet.
eh,
He's working on it.
it,
That's why he's above JC.
well, here's the other thing. Here's Foxy's other problem, and this is kind of a failing of this setting. It does require a bit of familiarity with the source material.
A little bit.
Not
I
like
mean, not a ton.
you can learn as you go, but you can't be a competent entity
Yes,
in that
but the
world
thing is,
without a little bit
but
of
the thing
source
is,
material knowledge.
you have to learn as you go. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just base it solely off of what is posted.
Yes.
You have to do if something comes up that you don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
either ask a question or do some research. That is the only way you can do it.
I'm still
If you don't know.
I'm still a little salty that Mumbles caught.
Okay, then we have you.
I'm below
Who
monkey.
yes, who doesn't like to read apparently and who has very um generic responses
How do
for
I
a
have?
lot of the situations.
How do I have
Do we
generic?
want to go? Do we want to go back and read? Okay, let me see. Let me scroll back up just a little bit. You've done good the past couple of days.
I saved this
Um,
campaign twice. I will have. I am not gonna. Yeah, I straight
let's
up saved
see.
this campaign twice.
Uh,
Like it goes back. It goes back. 2 weeks. But I like when you all were about to start shooting each other. I saved this campaign.
oh my goodness. See, I've got to go back past um the 3 day long Pazak game.
No, Sabak.
Sabak.
Yeah, Pazak is different. I don't know.
Yes. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um.
Before that was in the cockpit where I saved the whole campaign.
Okay, maybe you and Monkey are tied. I don't remember specifically, but there's been a couple of times that I've read some. Oh, it's because I know what it is.
Hmm.
It's because you've deleted them because I called you out on them, and you were like, "Fine, I'll delete it."
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't find them because you deleted them.
Well, if they don't work in the story, they don't work in the story, so I get rid of them.
Oh my goodness.
People telling me how to roleplay my character. And
No,
for the
I'm
record,
telling you how to roleplay your character. I'm telling you to read before you roleplay your character.
while I'm doing that now, and sometimes it's not me. It's just like it's not clear.
Yes, well, me and Mumbles have talked about this too. Is that a lot of the issue is that we are not having conversations that lead well to conversations. They're basically just um, rhetorical questions and responses to one another. It's like we're talking to ourselves at somebody
Mm-hmm.
instead of having a conversation.
Well, that's yes.
And that comes with with Foxy not being very good at role play, and Monkey being new to role play, and J Seed being J Seed.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's like
that can and has gotten better in the past couple of days.
so after the Sabat game, it was kind of a mess. Like
Yeah,
there was
there were 2 whole days nobody posted.
okay. So I posted once. I'm not sure where you're pulling that from, but I'm not
Saturday and Sunday.
okay. I'm not gonna argue with you about that. Um, but so J Seed gets up and I in response to my response to Monkey at the end of it, I'm pouring him a drink, right? That was on Saturday. Like that was been like after the podcast Saturday.
Okay, so here's where it is. So you and Monkey were talking on the 30th.
Mm-hmm.
On the 1st, so nobody posted on the 31st.
Right, because I was waiting.
First,
I was waiting for a response, and I got no response.
You were waiting for a response. Yeah. Then on the 31st, nobody posted, and then on the 1st, JC posted, "I will get my fly swatter. Wobbles and wobbles a laugh.
Warbles
a laugh."
Yeah,
and that was all that was posted on the 1st.
And I'm like, what am I supposed? What am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no. I can make things work, and he actually did. So he posted twice on February 1st. His first one is "I'll get the fly swatter," and the second post is "Warbles a laugh." They're separate posts. And I'm like, okay, he got his 2 posts.
Yeah, and that's been what he's been doing every day.
I know.
He'll come in at random times, post a couple of things, and then gone.
I know, but it's like, okay, that's what he's doing. I can ignore him for the most part.
Exactly.
But like, I thought for certain I'd get something. Like I had responses planned for people objecting, questioning, going, "Wow, that sounds really violent." When you say, "May your path to riches be paved with the bodies of your enemies." Nothing. Like nothing. So I mean, I'm trying. I'm putting stuff out there that in my mind would generate a response, but apparently I'm wrong, and so I get kind of locked into just waiting, and then and then we end up here. So yeah, it's not like I'm trying to be a bad role player. I mean, okay, maybe I am actively trying to undermine the DM. That's a whole other thing. But that's
I mean, aren't we all? Isn't that the position of the PC?
I may have taken it a little farther. I may have gone but I'm like, hey, I'm shocked nobody nobody reacted at all to DM is distracted quick, add stats to your character sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to okay, so on the one hand, yes, it's fun. I was trying to mess with mumbles. On the other hand, I was like, okay, we have someone who's not really connected, J-Seed. Maybe this would be a way to connect him. So let me just add a gun. Like, it's not going to make that big a difference. He's probably going to miss anyway, but he'll feel like he was accomplishing something. Maybe he'll connect. We don't have another gun. Okay.
So you really did add another gun? I didn't even check you on it.
Oh yeah. I
guess we have another gun.
I just straight up made it up. I'm like, that's on the Falcon. It's close enough. They have one on the Falcon, and we can add extra guns to the ship. I want concussion missiles on ours, but we haven't done that because we don't have the money for it because it's crazy expensive. But I'm like, yeah, I'll just add one in. I'm certain Mumbles won't check me on that. And then he's like, yeah, we don't have one. Yeah, that was not a Mumbles call. That was a Gavi was being difficult and was having way too much fun with that.
Oh my goodness.
Can you blame me though? I mean, I did have good intentions along with the bad ones.
So I'm confused. What on this picture were you saying was another gun? because I didn't even because I took you at face value, didn't even inspect the picture that you sent. I was just like, oh, okay.
There is no other gun. There's just like pointy bits or antennas or something.
Yeah. I'm seeing that now.
And like if you go further in there, where is it? The second picture that I posted is just a picture from one of the movies of the Millennium Falcon. It's the ventral turret, and it's just like a little blaster cannon. It's like a pop gun really compared to what everything else can do. But and like I was very careful, and that like I cut this out specifically so like none of the stats were on there, and just talks about talks about the freighter and everything. But like there's no other guns on this thing, like nothing, none whatsoever. And nobody else looked it up until Mumbles had to spoil everything. Darn it.
Oh my goodness, J-Seed. Foxy finally said, "We already won, J-Seed." He said,
"Where's the kaboom?
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom."
Oh.
I said, "There were 3. Do you even read?"
It's not passive aggressive at all.
That was super passive aggressive.
I know.
That was the entire point.
I was also being very sarcastic. I'm glad you picked up on that.
Oh my goodness.
I will say this, and I like my description of how I feel. A lot of times, I'm like I said, I've rolled particularly well the last 3 times I've rolled. Like, that's crazy. But like the whole challenge roll thing, I'm not really a big fan of that. And I like my description that I posted a couple hours ago. The impression that I get from the difficulty dice is that we're a couple of generally competent burglars knocking over empty homes while everyone is away for the holidays. The difficulty comes into play when we go after the house, which just happens to be full of traps designed by a psychopathic 9-year-old who got overlooked and left at home by the rest of his family as we go about our otherwise mundane tasks we are demonstrably smart enough to accomplish. Like, the Wet Bandits, until they met Kevin McAllister, were raking in bank. Like, they were successful in what they were doing. Harry and Marv had a great plan, and it was being executed wonderfully. And then they met Kevin. Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
And what's interesting?
I'm just checking in on the status of Lynn's character, and she is going to be a Yanti pureblood fighter. I almost clicked deactivate on her character sheet.
What was
that would have been funny.
What was the thing?
Oh, she got decent rolls too.
There was the what's your Dungeons and Dragons class says about you as a person? Fighters like you're the basic of the basic.
Oh, that's absolutely. That was how Micro sold it to her. He was like, "All right, so what do you want to do?" And I had already been talking to her, so I said, "Well, she wants to be anything but a caster class. She wants to be purely melee or ranged. We hadn't got that far." And he was like explaining all the martial classes, and he said, "And then the fighter is the basic one, and then you have the monk." And then she was like, "You said basic? Let's do that."
Bet she likes her pumpkin spice lattes at Halloween time too. A bad joke, but I'm not gonna apologize for it. It's just yeah. It's just. There's a potential here for something so great, but it just feels like we've got like the governor on a car. It's like, hey, this car is built for speed. It can go like 900 miles an hour. Governor.
Yeah, that's what Olinda is.
55 miles an hour. What about Olinda?
Olinda's going smoothly. Well, I wouldn't say smoothly. We've had 2 fights back to back with a crash in the middle. Um, so, uh,
I cannot believe that Rage is still alive.
I can't believe we're all still alive.
Just because we haven't actually had like physical combat in Heskin, I don't think we have. Did we?
Not with our new characters,
Now with
we
our new
haven't.
characters, yeah. But has the system changed so that wounds are no longer like cumulative like they were before, where it's like you get
Crit,
crits are no longer
crit.
cumulative?
Yes.
Okay.
So after Raids almost lost an arm,
Mm-hmm.
they decided to do a little bit of research on crits. And I think what happened was that Mumbles misread it
Yeah.
and was like trying to be the, oh, I homebrewed this and this is how we're going to do it.
Uh huh.
But then he slowly backed off of it,
Right.
kind of situation because he knew he was wrong.
Uh huh.
Just didn't want to admit it.
Yep.
um,
Because
but yeah,
I was reading that exchange and like this, I never really saw a conclusion to it, but apparently you guys have had some physical combat, and that is now the case where it's not like you get a
yeah.
45 and a 65 and you're at 110, you're dead.
Yeah, no, no. So the way it's supposed to work and the way that it does work now
Mm-hmm.
is that you roll a crit and say you roll a 45.
Right.
The next time you roll, the next time you have to do a crit roll,
Mm-hmm.
you do a crit roll and add 10.
Right.
So say you roll a 55. Well, now that's a 65. You
Gotcha.
don't add those two together, but you have a 45 crit and a 65 crit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's two separate crits. So the next time you have to roll a crit,
Mm-hmm.
you have to roll crit plus 20.
Right.
And so that's how it's supposed to stack.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
you can take multiple crits and never cross.
yeah,
When the old system was like you take two and you're dead. Like you're
yeah,
dead.
yeah, absolutely.
The average roll
So
is
like,
50. You take two. That's 100. Goodbye.
so like, um, uh, 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 I lost my train of thought. Um,
You-
so like when the Heskin group looked like it was about to bomb, I messaged Mumbles and I said, "I'm about to jump out of an airlock." I said, "No, better yet, I trip on the tripwire that J Seed set, and it causes me to accidentally fire my weapon into my face, and I die."
when
I
was
even
the,
had it typed up and ready to go.
when was
Uh,
this?
right after J Seed set the tripwire and made me and Monkey go to bed. And I was like, "We're still standing right beside you. You can't just force us into our room and fall asleep."
Well, what I'm confused. What? How did you? How was that set? Like, was that precipitated in any way, or
What do you mean?
I mean, like, because it sounded like you were like trying to kill your character and get out of the campaign. Like that's how you just described that.
That's absolutely what I was trying to do. Yes.
Okay. What?
I
Okay.
was just.
This was
I was
when
just
there
so.
was this was when there was no there was no post for like 2 days.
No, no, no. This was back. Let me go.
When we first got in and everyone decided they didn't like each other.
Shortly after that. Yeah. Let's see here. Uh, Let me find There was a day that JC posted like 12 things back to back to back to back,
Mm-hmm.
and then didn't come back the same day.
Yep.
I'm trying to find that post. There's actually a couple of days in here where he was coming through. Oh, I went back too far. I'm at Umrug.
Mm-hmm.
See. Okay, here's session 2. Um, Good idea. You good? Okay. Oh, here it is. It was on January 24th. He said that he rolls around and then he rolls back to Vark's bunk and stealthily places a tripwire. Like there was a good several hours like we didn't post until like almost 8 or 9 o'clock at night after he posted that, and like I was seriously messaging Mumbles like, how do we even respond to that? He basically shunted our characters into our bunks and to bed and asleep. It's like that that's a line cross that's a line crossing that you don't cross when you RP. You don't control other player characters. You control your character.
Right. It, it,
It's like if you want to try and control another character, then it becomes contested or talked about
mm-hmm.
before it actually happens.
Yeah.
It's not just like I don't walk up and to Braum and be like, okay, I pull Braum out of the gunnery seat and then I jump into the gunnery seat and start shooting things. It's like no, that's a contested role that I'm going to lose. By the way.
I can think
it's like Ducky tries to do it a lot with her. I grab somebody and drag them away. She does that a lot with her characters.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of like the unspoken rule of stage improv: never kill a character, because as soon as you do that, all that person has to do for the rest of the scene is lie on the ground, and that is not cool.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and when it's an auditory thing, like we're actually playing D&D, the DM or somebody else can step up and be like, hey, well, okay, let's hold up. This will be contested. But in a play-by-post, somebody can go and write this paragraph thing that everybody then is like, okay, what do we do with that now? Because you have basically just role-played everybody's character all by yourself. It's like at this point you're not doing RPing.
You're writing
a book.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. I try not to do things like that. I'll say this. Back 2 weeks ago when I saved the campaign, can't maintain that. I changed how I was playing my character. Like, I saw how things were going, and I saw that there was like a dead space where no one was posting anything, because it was like the next thing that anybody posted, if it was either from you and Monkey or from Foxy, it was like the next post directly after that was going to be, and then I pulled my blaster and shoot him. Like, it was that point. And I'm like, okay, I was going to try and play Braum in this way, and now I need him to be an elderly voice of reason, otherwise we're all going to die right now. Or at least y'all were, because he's practically immortal and invincible, so, you know. He'll be there. I guess I'm the captain now. Ha!
I'm the captain now. Oh, wait, there's no one to talk to.
He's a jovial character. He's a jovial sort. He would still, talk to himself.
Oh, he has been.
I know.
We've seen that in the posts. He is in a room by himself talking about his exploits with the gunner.
What? Did I miss something?
In your post about you shooting the...
Oh, yeah. Well, this is like... Okay, so... I mean, he's technically on comms. Technically. But, yeah. I have that vision of, like, in episode 4 where Luke is in the top and Han is in the bottom turret and they're yelling back and forth with each other. Like, that's the vision I have in my head. That's clearly not what's actually happening here. That's the vision that I have. But yeah, he's absolutely...
with your size, with your size and malleability, I actually picture you, like if we got an outside view, it would just be Braum ball inside of this cannon thing with a little gun sticking out.
Like...
like you just fill up all of the space, like your body, like cat kind of, where the cat fills the volume.
Cats are liquid.
Cats are liquid thing. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I picture.
That's the opposite of what I was looking for. But let me see, something like that's a classic. You got to go with that one. Something like this, maybe.
I thought that was a GIF. I was waiting for it to continue moving.
It is typically
Um,
a GIF, but yeah, no,
did you just say GIF?
I did.
Is that
We've
the right
had this.
word?
We've had this conversation, Masters. It's not a giraffe.
I can never remember which way is the right way now.
GIF.
Okay.
I was gonna let you have it, and I'm like, no, I can't do that to myself. But yeah, my thing is, if we get if we do upgrades on the ship and we put a second turret in there, I wonder how flexible like the whole no bones thing is, and how he can kind of fit himself into any space. Could he technically, like Mr. Fantastic, a hand and an eye in the top turret and a hand and an eye in the bottom turret? And there's just like this random mouth in the center. He's just like talking to himself. Hey, I got one. Oh man.
I accidentally joined voice with Micro and them.
Oh, well that's fun.
I left you for a second.
I was just saying.
You were just saying?
Wow. Sorry. I just saw JC's response and I'm like, holy crap. He doesn't pay attention to anything here.
I didn't.
He's like, do I need to roll anything for shields? I'm like, I haven't had to so far.
Well, Foxy asked him to check the status of them.
Yeah, I know. But also contained within the description from Mumbles, it's that the blasters bounced off the shields harmlessly, which tends to suggest to me that the shields are okay. But that might just be my assumption, and my assumption is tend to get people killed. I assumed that I could ride a sheep. I was wrong. So you're now running 4 play-by-post campaigns. Not running, you're participating in.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Well, one of them hasn't started yet.
Oh, okay. It's like
and one of them is barely going. So
yeah, well, it's moving along a lot better than it has the last couple of weeks.
Well, we're in combat right now.
Yeah.
J-Seed is in for the combat. When it comes to combat, J-Seed is there.
No,
it's the role play.
No, we have an entire combat here to prove that he is not, in fact, in the combat.
He tried to be there. He just came in before it started and then after it ended.
It's like, ooh, combat. I'll come back later. See, this is also the kind of thing where I think Mumbles was a little bit generous with his posting minimum, where he said 2 posts a day, where I think he probably should have said 5 to 10.
Yeah, probably.
But because that's actually like the pace that this actually plays at, or seems to be playing at, or probably should be played at. The trick is, then you get people who are like really busy, like Monkey is right now. And properly, like Mumbles should be right now. He has a problem. Like, he has a real problem. He can't make it a full week without starting a new campaign. and let's not forget that he just had a kid who his wife is probably being like, hey.
But that's why he's doing these play-by-post, is because he can get on his phone at random times throughout the day and post.
Yes, but
and he can be holding a baby and posting with his other hand.
Yes, but there's a lot of them, and apparently there's going to be more. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just questioning his thought process.
Well, his thought process is, I need an escape, like many of our thought processes are when we roleplay.
I don't know if I was looking for an escape. I was just kind of...
Yeah, I wasn't looking for an escape either. I was looking for an outlet for my creativity
I didn't even do it.
that I've been shunting in for the last 30 years.
So wasn't even looking for that. I was just like, oh, my friends are playing D&D. I guess I'll play it. Took off all the pastors. No, it's more true than I like to say. Happens quite frequently. They're like, so you still playing that D&D thing? I'm like, well, kinda.
I mean, technically no, because
My character's
Thea just had a baby, but
my
yeah.
character's dead. Probably not coming back.
I'll have to make a new one, but yeah, still playing.
Every other week or so. Oh, I'm hoping that we have Tuesday this week. I really hope we have Tuesday this week.
We won't have Tuesday. We will have Friday this week.
Well, that's great for somebody.
And then the next week we should have Tuesday.
Okay. It's going to make my life difficult.
But we should have tomorrow, so we'll have that.
That's also going to be difficult. I've gotten busy again, Masters. Like, not that I wasn't busy before, but like the level of busy that I was has been increased again. I actually need to post.
Why would you do a thing like that?
I didn't do it. It happened. This is a passive thing, not an active thing.
Oh, I don't believe that for one bit.
So I joined a new church back in August. Since then, that church has started to add things into my life. And like, there's not really any options to be like, okay, if I'm going to the church, I'm going to the church. And so I'm going to the church. And so I go to the church a lot.
It's not really a passive thing, though.
Well, the addition of other things to go to at and for and around the church, that is passive. I have no say in those. I just have to be at them.
That's not true at all. You have a say. You just say yes.
No, I really don't. They're like I get a message from the pastor, and he's like, "Hey, on Thursday we're doing this. Okay. On Friday we're doing this. All right. Tuesdays we're doing this. Okay."
Yes, but there's this thing that God gave you called free will.
Yes, and
where you have the ability to respond. I'm not going to be there.
Yes, and that's why I was really hoping that we were going to be having a Tuesday session this week. Because that would work out really well with other things going on, because then I would have no conflicts. But the Tuesday after, I do have a conflict. Yay! So, my new character may be delayed in getting to be part of the party. Yay! He's a bad guy anyway, don't worry about it.
I'm sure he is.
We should actually talk about that. About
the Death Cleric?
Not necessarily about the Death Cleric, but the idea that I'm suddenly playing a lot of evil characters.
You're not technically evil.
Barkham made a friend, gave him a name, and then stretched him out so that the other member of his party could cut him open lengthwise.
He was just following orders.
Who was just following orders?
Barkham.
Yes, but at the same time,
I mean, he was okay with the orders.
It's like totally.
Make him evil.
He's like.
I mean, it's not like
so
I
did.
Or a baby.
I did.
It was a bug.
I did say specifically, like, don't worry, he'll reintroduce you to the darkness soon, and then like stretches him out. Like, Barkham clearly knew that this was about to happen. Whether he comprehended the full ramifications of it is up for debate. But
so, my favorite part of that session was when I was like, we shouldn't really kill it, though. And he was like, oh, so we can't kill this bug, but you just slayed 2 giants? And I was like, you have a point. Go ahead.
And, like, in fairness, the giants hadn't really done anything at that point. We attacked them. Like,
I have a bias against giants, I'm learning, because every time I've ever come up against giants, I have made the first move.
And when you were DMing the giants, it was bad for the rest of us. So oh, yeah, I have thought multiple times that I was in a party of murder hobos. Sundays we are a party of murder hobos. Like we straight up are.
No. We didn't kill the goblins.
We didn't kill the second group of goblins, and that was
the first group attacked us first. Okay, we went to talk, and they attacked us.
Did they? It's kind of fuzzy in my recollection.
They set a trap. They set a trap for us.
Okay, well, I mean, still, like I chased him down. Like he's running away, and I'm like, nope. What do you mean you caught up to him? I have 55 feet of movement. Oh. It's not that I'm not having fun with it. It's just I didn't this is the most evil I've had the opportunity to be. And I mean, not that Rezo at one point wasn't getting there, but
yeah, we were working on it.
We were working on it. I feel cheated still. That might have something to do with why I'm playing a cleric again. But
and it's not only do you have 55 feet of movement, you also have 15 feet of reach.
Yes.
So he can run 70 feet. He can double dash with 30 feet and get 60 feet away, and it's still not enough.
It's like he's standing still. I love it. It's so good.
And on top of that, this isn't even your final form.
Oh, actually, I just realized I didn't have to chase him. He was within my reach.
Yeah.
So I should have gotten an opportunity attack.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I definitely should have gotten an opportunity attack on him.
Twice. You ran right up to them, and I was thinking, you have 15 feet of reach. Why are you getting right up on them?
I don't think I ever attacked from 5 feet away.
You did twice.
Well,
technically, the last time he was up in a tree, so
yeah, he was 10 feet up, so I had to be close enough. Just like chopped him down with a tree. Oh man, Barkham is so much fun. I'm so glad I came up with him, and I realized like I created Barkham to be Mark Hamill, and then Mark Hamill's Joker got mixed up with Gollum, and now I've realized that there's a third like entity inhabiting Barkham. He is now the Joker plus Gollum plus Salacious Crumb. Which, do you know who Salacious Crumb is? Masters?
Yes, but no. I know the
He is somewhere between the Joker, Gollum, and Salacious Crumb. I've just posted Salacious Crumb in the Discord, World's Worst Podcast interaction. By the way, people listening in, if you have not joined the Discord, please do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not who I was thinking of, but yeah.
Yeah. He is somewhere between those three. Kinda. You're almost there.
I couldn't get any higher.
Well, it's not even so much the pitch that was wrong. It was he does it a lot faster.
I can't do it any faster either.
Yeah, he's kind of a high energy, quick speaking kind of thing. It's okay, Masters. We know you're from the South. Wow, that was really easy. Original message
really
never.
Oh, Foxy pinged Mumbles.
Mm.
And I said, patience.
Yeah, that's something we probably. I thought about messaging him privately about being like, "Hey, Foxy, I know that you're finally engaged here, but he's got a baby
Ooh,
and
that's
3 other ones and a wife
that's
who's not work.
okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yes.
oh, continue.
Oh, that was kind of like, I'm just like, hey, you got to lay off for a second. Just let him be. He'll get here.
Look at this cool tattoo.
Look at this cool tattoo. What's a cool tattoo? Oh, that's actually really good.
That's super cool. Ooh, imagine if it was instead of a fighter jet, if it was like the Millennium Falcon or something.
I mean, good either way. It looks
Or
3D. It's so that's
it,
awesome.
yeah. Oh, it is awesome. Yeah.
I'm not one for
I'm just saying
tattoos, but that's pretty
more for my
awesome.
nerdy style.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. Make it an X-wing or something. No, okay. So I as Brahm, I am having. I have made Brahm into a gun nerd like me, or just like a weapons nerd like me, and so
You're a
yeah,
weapons nerd?
just a little bit. Um,
I haven't noticed.
yeah, you'd be the first. Um, anyway, so I made Brahm into a little bit of a weapons nerd, and so now he's like actively protesting the galaxy for not having moved its technology any further forward in the last 200 years.
Hmm.
Which I mean, I understand
Well,
why Mumbles is doing it because
that's
it's like those are the assets that he has to work with. Like, okay, X-wing pre-statted, TIE interceptor pre-statted, just throw it in there. Good. And I'm like, it's been 200 years. You haven't thought up anything new beyond this? Oh, it's been fine. We blew up 3 Death Stars with an X-wing. It'll still be fine now. I'm like, you idiot. Sorry. Yeah.
so I don't know if this ever came up, but part of Unrug's backstory
Mm-hmm.
was that he salvaged old ships and helped rebuild uh, ones that weren't completely damaged.
I think
So yeah, he worked on a salvage planet.
that never came up.
So
He died too fast.
he did die too fast. It was like, oh, and he's dead.
So here's the other thing. So I think Unrug and Brahm would have gotten along famously. I think that would have been, particularly with that aspect of his backstory. And here's the other thing. Unrug would technically still have been able to ride around inside of Brahm's chest.
Oh, this is a little squishy.
He's like, don't worry. He just like digs his fingers into his chest and opens up a cavity. Sit there. It's like forms a little chair out of his muscle fibers. It'll be fine. Don't worry.
This is a little weird, but okay, I'm down.
Oh, I have specifically not made a voice for Brahm because he's not supposed to have one.
Oh, I haven't made a voice for anybody. That was
Just
probably the furthest I would have ever made it for Unrug. That was
yeah,
just a voice that came out when I started talking.
yeah. It's weird when you're like when you're telling a story about somebody and that person speaks. Humans will automatically start to mime that person or to impersonate them to a certain extent. Some people are better at it than
Yeah.
others. Um, and so it's kind of funny that we're doing this with fictional characters who have literally had no voice at all.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Speaking of that voice that I just did,
Yes.
is that more Ralph or Dr. Teeth?
That's way more.
Hey, is this Ralph? I can't decide if it's Ralph or Dr. Teeth.
That's more Ralph. Although that is
Hey.
different than what you did before.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I just play this tune.
Yeah, that's a lot more Ralph. It's somewhere in between, but it's like 70%
Well, I mean, they're both
Ralph.
they're both Jim Henson voiced characters.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, like in terms of Ralph and Dr. Teeth, if they have any variation at all between them, which they do, it's 70%
Yeah.
Ralph.
That's what I was thinking.
At least that's what it sounds like on this side.
Hey, your Kermit's getting a little bit better there.
I wasn't even really trying to do Kermit. I was just doing a funny voice, and it came out this way.
Huh, well, very, very well done. Don't you think so, Chef? No,
No, that's terrible.
yeah, hey, you over there, you be quiet, you.
Okay. I'm gonna talk about babies for a second, and believe it or not, this is related to the Swedish Chef. So right now, Mumbles just had a kid, and probably rightfully so. At least a certain part of his Discord right now is wrapped up in baby pictures, and the females are on there just cooing and awing, going, "Oh, look at how cute she is." I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I don't try to understand it. I'm just gonna go, okay.
Wait, what are we not understanding?
The whole fawning over babies thing. I don't understand that at all. Like, I do not understand that in the slightest. Like, he posts up a picture, and I've said this about a bunch of different babies, so it's not just his. It's like, oh, well, that is the nicest looking potato I've seen since the last one I put in my curry soup. I mean, it's like, a baby doesn't look like anything to me. I don't think a baby's cute. I don't think a baby's sweet. I just look at it and go, man, that looks like it's going to be really loud at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to have any part of that.
That's a sign that you should never have kids.
Well, I'm succeeding so far.
We may have found the root of all of your problems, Gabby.
Oh, Mumbles didn't react properly. Darn it. Oh, so earlier today, I think it was in Players Only. Yeah. He responded to you. You were talking about difficulty die or whatever, and he responds back because anyone without any skill can attempt a check. And I made the joke, been doing this my whole life.
Yeah, I saw.
And he did not respond properly. He just responded like, oh yeah, I'm the DM. This is a gameplay question kind of thing, and yada yada. And I'm like, no, I'm saying I fail at life, and you're not like this. Yeah, I was kind of peeved at that.
I almost responded, but by the time I did, he had responded. So
and it's like,
it's gone now.
Humor's gone. Like it was perfect, and just sad. Like my life. But anyway, where was I going with this? Oh,
it's like, continue.
Oh, I was gonna say, so like, failing at the women thing, like, by extension, also failing at the kid thing. Maybe not missing too much, but people, like, they see a baby and they start fawning all over. They go, "Oh, look at how cute it is! Look at that little man," kind of thing. I'm like, oh, I don't get that. I like, people have like baby talk and things that they do to little kids, and I'm like, no, I've never done baby talk to a kid. What I've
never done baby talk. I've made baby noises. Like, yeah, I'll do that kind of stuff. But I don't talk like this. I don't talk like this at all. I don't do that.
Yeah, I don't do that. What I have noticed is that I do voices like that when I'm talking to a cute cat. And like, in particular, like my Ma's cat, she's one of the cutest and most insanely cute cats I've ever met in my life, and that goes right in line with her being the most spoiled cat I've ever met in my life. That being said, like when I talk to her, because when I'm over there and I try and pet her, you talk to the cat while you're petting the cat, I turn into the Swedish Chef, like straight up.
Earn the dirt. You're doing good to go send this Richard.
Oh dear. About time.
About time what?
Oh, someone, I guess never mind. I'm singing tomorrow at church, and the pastor's wife has been telling me for the last 3 days that she's going to send me songs. Because I kind of need to know what I'm singing. A half an hour ago, she told me that it's just going to be me and her and somebody else tomorrow singing there, and she still has not sent me any songs. I'm like, well, I guess we'll just wing it then. Alrighty. This sounds like fun. Except for anything remotely like that. I'm gonna post a picture of my mom's cat anyway. So yeah, I see you pet the cat, you're like, oh, who's little snuggly move? And
who's your good cat?
Kind of, and yeah, just that's more Kermit, but like when it's natural and authentic, I'm not trying to recreate it. It's straight up the Swedish Chef, and I realize this, and I'm like, man, I am a sad excuse for a person. All right.
Nobody fully appreciated my joke on Mumbles the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Did you even see it?
I
Probably not.
may have. I'm not. So here's the thing. I'm also really like how this podcast is turning into like, hey, I made this joke this week and nobody responded to it, so I'm going to remake the joke and hope that somebody laughs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Dang it, love us.
I will get my internet validation, darn you.
So Mumbles messaged everybody and said, "Just broke the wife's water. Labor is progressing in line with the medication. Expecting a baby by midnight." And I could not help myself
Mm-hmm.
because of the way he worded it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "What did you do that for? Now you got to clean it up."
I
And
did.
I was in voice chat with Micro as I was typing this,
Mm-hmm.
and I had read it out because Micro was playing games, and so I was trying to keep him updated with things.
Yeah.
And so I read it out loud, and as I was saying it, I started giggling to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I typed that message. He said, "You're about to post something sarcastic, aren't you?" And I said, "No, shut up."
Yeah. Um, I saw that and I forget who posted something else, or you posted and you kind of cut me off because I was actually looking for a GIF that was after episode 4, so I was looking for the GIF of Wanda's water breaking and water pouring from the ceiling, and and then you post. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess that. So we both undercut it, like jokes were undercut for both of us this week. Darn it.
Oh my goodness. That's funny.
Getting the frustration out feels good.
Absolutely.
I feel somewhat validated. Also, look at the snuggly boof.
So, we are not not investors. We are not financial advisors. But I bought a significant amount of stock in AMC this week.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's not going well. It will eventually go well, but it's not right now.
So here's the thing. And this is the part that I don't think everyone quite really understood about the whole GameStop rebellion, as I've heard it referred to. And I like that. It's a really good way of phrasing it. The way that shorts work is that there is a time expiration. There's an expiration date on the short.
Yeah.
We don't know when that expiration date is.
Yes, we do.
We do.
They have to post them publicly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind. Retraction.
I think the last one is on the 15th.
Hold until the 15th.
Absolutely.
I mean, at least hold until the 15th.
Regardless of how things play out with the quote unquote squeeze that we're expecting, I think that I got in at a low enough price that I will eventually, when all of this crap is over with, I will make my money back. At least make my money back.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be in there longer than I originally wanted it to be, but that's fine. I did not put anything in it that I could not live without.
Mm-hmm.
So
I will.
We shall see.
So this is, again, I do not hold an active securities license. I have an inactive one. So I have to be very, very careful about what I say. Very, very careful. I will say this, because this is federally recognized, kind of like generally good advice. Playing the stock market is generally not a good way to get ahead in life.
Oh no.
A much more proven way of doing it is the slow way, regular interval investing, things like that. And as it turns out,
funds, Roth IRAs,
everything like that.
Long-term investments.
Long term. Yes, it's hard to get ahead that way, at least in your mind, but it is much more effective. And
You will thank yourself in 30 years.
yes, you will. In fact, I'm actually thanking myself right now. And this is the thing I was getting to when I was leading up to this. My coworker and I, she's a little younger than I am, and we've had some discussions last couple of weeks about everything that's going on because she knows that I have at one point held an active securities license, and she says, well, she started putting in some money away, $50 a month or something like that, into her company sponsored 401k, which is if you have a company and they're matching, put in as much as they match. They usually we'll match X percent up to this amount, whatever that amount is. Try and put that in. I do that, and it's a really good way to think about it because then you're not just investing your money, you're also getting their money to help you invest. So
Yeah.
that's a benefit.
My company actually pays in 3% regardless of whether or not I pay into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then another 7% into an ESOP program.
Mm-hmm. My company matches 25% up to the first $5,000. And so I planned out my payment schedule based on the paychecks that come in a year, and I've put in $5,000 and like $8, something like that, for the last couple of years, just because getting into smaller math than that was just not worth the effort to me. Yeah. So she starts putting in $50 a month, and we're talking one day, and she's like, "Man, I'm just kind of running out of money." And I'm like, at the end of the month, I'm like, "Oh well, let me come over and take a look and see if I can help you budget things a little bit better." And so she brings up her paycheck, and I'm like, "How much did you say you're putting in?" She says, "Oh, I'm putting in $25." I'm like, "Well, we both work the same number of hours, and we both get paid the same amount. Like, I know that it's kind of a taboo thing. You should know how much your coworkers are earning." That's a lie. That's a lie.
Absolutely is a lie. You want to know what your coworkers are making so that you can be like, we do the same job.
Yeah.
We should get paid the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I contacted my previous boss to figure out, because I've technically taken his job.
Right.
So I contacted him and was like, "Hey, what did you make when I started and when you left?" So that I could know what was in the realm of acceptable. For my raise questions.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely.
How did that go, by the way? I don't think we ever heard.
Oh, I didn't get as much as I requested technically, because I asked for a base pay increase of a certain amount, but they gave me almost the amount I asked for. If you add in the 10% that they put into the ESOP and 401k.
Okay.
So
well, this kind of factors in a little bit into that because she and I, our take-home pay for every paycheck was less than $10 apart, and I'm putting in $175. I'm paying $175 more into my 401k every paycheck than she is. We're like, how does this happen? Then it dawns upon me: the 401k is pre-tax money. So by taking $5,000 a year out of my taxable income and putting it into my 401k, I got dropped into a lower tax bracket. So people who say you can't afford to invest, this is something to think about, because you probably can, and you'll end up at about the same place you are right now. I'm not saying that applies across the board. I'm in like this little sweet spot right now where if I make just like $1 or $2 more an hour, I'm out of it. It's not going to work that way anymore, and I'll end up behind her actually until I make like another $1 or $2 an hour past that. But like right now I'm in this nice little niche sweet spot where by putting this money in there, it drops me down into that lower tax bracket, and we're taking home the same amount, but I'm actually keeping way more of my money than she is. And she was not happy to discover that, of course. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Still do, in fact. Yeah, so, live and learn and do your math. Learning how the system works is always a benefit, and seeking out a reliable, trustworthy source where you are to provide on the spot instruction for how to manage your finances is something that I strongly recommend. I would be very careful though, because there are a lot of people out there who are not so scrupulous, and will charge you an arm and a leg to tell you that you have no money. I know that that's happened before too. In fact, I know people that has happened too, and that's not cool. Yay! Happy topics. Let's go. Oh, Sass has been sending me stuff all week. I don't know if he's sent you the same stuff.
Let me go look.
Oh,
the last thing I got from him was Sunday, and it was about Evil Genius.
Okay, so he sends us very different stuff. Good.
Yeah.
He sent me.
He likes to personalize his approach.
He sent me a film theory about how WandaVision will end, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm sorry, Sass. It's been kind of busy since between yesterday and today, and still busy today. Probably will be tomorrow. And he sent me another one for Food Theorist about how you can taste this video, and he's talking about it's talking about how like WonkaVision and stuff could potentially be a thing.
Did you say WonkaVision?
Yes, potentially be a thing.
Did you mean to say WonkaVision?
I meant to say WonkaVision.
Interesting.
Like it's a potential thing. They're thinking, working on it. It's a long way. Oh. Stupid phone. Stupid autocorrect. Why on earth would I ever say I hate my phone so much? Darn it. I'm trying to respond to my pastor's wife, and autocorrect takes yes and puts ye. And I'm like, I'm not that person. I am so not that person. Oh, man. Anyway, so yeah, Taste Your Screen. It's by Food Theorist. I'll just drop the link. But one of the things we should also talk about Stuff of Legend. We can do that in a second, because there's something else that he's talked about which kind of really correlates well with Stuff of Legend, that I am very much interested in. And I'll post the link to that here in just a second. Let me grab this, open it up here so I can actually view it, and copy the link, drop this in here. And this is Muppet Born. It is a fully statted out Muppet class for D&D. I want to play one of these for all the wrong reasons, and mostly the reasons are that it's not very well balanced. It's incredibly broken, but that's a whole other story. So, are you prepared for this, Master? I just want to read this the stat sheet, because it's pretty amazing.
Right,
huh?
I'm opening it up right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna read it, because this is one of the most amazing things I've ever heard. But you're going to be like, this is incredibly broken. Muppet Born. Fabric. Is that all I am to you? My blood may be colorful and glittery, but I bleed nonetheless. My people have long struggled to be taken seriously. It is why so many of us turn to our faith, our creator, the hand. It is a force within all of us that guides our actions and speaks through all Muppet Born. The war of my people is far from over, and it will be the bloodiest yet. Waka waka! I'm sorry. It's so good. Fuzzy and warm. A proud and silly race. Muppet Born are chaotic creatures known for innate magical abilities. Born appearing as small balls of cloth, they quickly develop into creatures that resemble humans, animals, and even monsters. But that doesn't make them evil. Easily spotted by their colorful furs, most Muppet Born who live outside their clans or streets frequently find themselves uninvited from proper civilization due to their odd habits. But really, is it a party without a Muppet Born swinging from the chandelier? Muppet Born traits. Ability score increased, your constitution and dexterity increased by 1. I can definitely see a Muppet barbarian just having a great time with this. Age. At birth, they resemble small balls of colorful fabric with googly eyes, but quickly sprout limbs and mature at roughly double the speed of humans. The average Muppet-born lives for 60 to 90 years. However, some have lived well past 300. Alignment. Imbued with sporadic energy, Muppet-born often live on the chaotic end of the spectrum. Size. As varied as the thoughts in their heads, the smallest Muppet-born rest just shy of 2 feet tall, while some are large enough to sink even the sturdiest of rowboats. Speed. Your base shuffling speed is 30 feet. Always obscured. No matter how you look at them, a Muppet-born's bottom half is always out of view. It said...
I love it.
It's said that even when one stands in the middle of a field, the earth will rise up to meet them. For this reason, they are always considered to have half cover and receive a permanent +2 bonus to AC.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That doesn't sound broken at all. The hand. Muppet-born mythology speaks of the hand inside each of them. They innately know the cantrip Mage Hand. However, the floating hand can only lift up to 5 pounds and move up to 5 feet per character level. Nom nom nom. Muppet-born absorb the energy from food without ever having to swallow it. Cloth and color. All Muppet-born know the cantrip Mending, and once per long rest it can be used to heal 1d8 hit points. This increases to twice per long rest at 5th level, and 3 times at 10th level, 4 times at 14th level, and 5 times at 18th level. Languages. You can speak, read, and write Common, Clothing, and Ventrilo, something like that. A subrace. 3 main subraces of Muppet-born exist: Hand of the Monster, Hand of the Grouch, and Hand of the Animal. Pick one for your character. I'm going to save Hand of the Grouch for last because it's the best. Hand of the Monster. +1 charisma increase. Yay! At 3rd level, you can perform the mighty Roar of the Monster as a bonus action once per short rest. This gives a +5 bonus to the next attack each of your allies within 60 feet makes. I'm going to read that again. This gives a +5 bonus to the next attack each of your allies within 60 feet makes. Holy crap, is that broken? Masters, are you still there?
Yep.
Okay, yep. As long as they do so in the next minute. Additionally, any ally that makes a wisdom or charisma saving throw in the next minute does so with advantage. Hand of the Animal. +1 wisdom increase, one of us. Many Muppet-born resemble animals. From birth, they have advantage on animal handling checks with these animals and can communicate with them. At 3rd level, they can communicate with similar types of animals and can also cast Beast Bond once per short or long rest without using a spell. Hand of the Grouch. +1 strength increase. Garbage can, not garbage cannot. At 3rd level, you've learned to fortify yourself amongst the lowest of society and gain proficiency in medium and heavy armor. Additionally, you do not make stealth checks at disadvantage while wearing heavy armor if moving at half speed or slower. Finally, you gain advantage on stealth checks if blending in with filth or garbage. I'm like, I want to play one of these. This is like one of the most broken, over the top broken class I've ever seen. +2 AC everywhere you go, just because you're always obscured. The bottom half is always out of view.
That wouldn't work in melee though.
I'm just reading what the sheet says, man.
I know, but half cover does not apply to melee.
Just post the sheet here. It's Sass is going to be very happy when he sees that posted up, because he's like, he sent that to me for a reason, and this is the reason. He just wanted to hear me read the sheet. I'm quite sure. You're welcome, Sass. But like, it just made me happy to read through all this. I'm like, oh man, it's so good. Now you have a lot more understanding of the rules and stuff. Is this as broken as I think it is in general?
Yes and no. Some of the things, like the +5 bonus to the next attack,
Mm-hmm.
that is actually part of a. Is it a cleric? I think it's a battle cleric that can do that, or a war
War
a war
cleric?
domain cleric
Yeah.
that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, though it's like a instead of it being like on your next attack, it's just a when somebody rolls, you can add it to theirs if you don't think it's going to make it.
Okay.
Um,
Kind of like
and
a
it is once per
clerical,
short rest.
kind of
So
a clerical inspiration.
yeah, it's like I think they word it as the hand of God or whatever
I
comes
mean,
down and guides
the
the
hand is
attack.
clearly involved in the Muppet Born.
Exactly.
I just find that so
Let me see if
funny.
I can. Let me see if I can find the wording.
Like I read this and I'm like, I almost want to build a campaign specifically around the Muppet Born.
Oh,
Even just
this
like a
is
one
actually a
shot.
+10. It's called Guided Strike. You can use a control divinity. You can use a channel divinity to strike with supernatural accuracy.
Hmm.
When you make a melee attack, you can roll your channel divinity to gain +10 on your roll. And then at 6th level, you can use it for another creature.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
and that's a +10.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So it's not as broken as I think it is, but I mean it's up there.
and then the uh the Head of the Grouch, that's not too terrible because you lose half of your speed
Right.
in order to not have this advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of balances itself out.
Yeah.
Um, and all of the +1 charisma, +1 strength, +1 wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice the ability score increase, they only give you a +1 to Constitution and Dex.
Yeah.
Um, so typically, you get a +2 and a +1 on each race.
Okay.
So this is just 3+1s
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Gotcha.
Which with Pasha's it doesn't matter anyways.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah, this is actually fairly well balanced, except for maybe the half cover thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, but even that's not too terribly under overbalanced or underbalanced.
Like
Yeah, underbalanced.
if I was DMing this, which my DMing prospects are unlikely at best at the moment, because I have everything else going on every other single day, and I need a day off, and I don't have one. um, um, if I was DMing that, I would absolutely just give it to him. But I'm a very permissive DM,
Hmm.
and I'm not the kind of permissive DM who would like. So Mumbles is a permissive DM, but up to a point.
Yeah.
And when he gets annoyed with how permissive he's been, he flips the script and gives you something that completely counteracts how permissive he has been.
Yes.
I'm saying this from
Yes.
experience and tasting the blood in my nose. Um,
Oh my goodness.
um,
That's a regular iron detector.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'm very well, you were in one of my games, like all of my games, way back when, before we knew what we were doing, and I still hardly know what I'm doing, but before I knew even a little bit that I know now, I run very much by the rule of cool, and I was actually kind of frustrated by how little variation people were giving me, other than I attack it with my greatsword. I'm like,
Well,
is that it? If I was DMing, this is a something that I think I would do, where not so much you can get advantage on something, but kind of like you could roll potentially an extra damage dice if you took a negative to one of your attack rolls to target something specifically, just so that there would be more more specificity in the combat. Because I feel like a lot of it right now is just kind of like, oh,
that's not really cohesive with the way that they have built D&D 5e.
Mm-hmm.
I know in some of the older versions there were targeting based systems
Mm-hmm.
for that. In Star Wars, there's a targeting based system, the one that we're playing right now.
Yeah.
If you take the aim function, you can either take a boost die to your attack,
Uh-huh.
or you can take two setback dice to your attack in order to target a specific place on your target
Uh-huh. And
and causing them, if successful, causing them to have something happen, whether it be they drop their weapon or you damage them in such a way where they have extra setback on their next attack. So
I would like to
there are systems that have that kind of thing built in.
I would like
5e is just not one of them.
I would like to
5e is very, very, very user friendly.
Uh-huh. Well, I think that there's a way to make it happen. Again,
Oh yeah,
my
there
my
are alternative rules that people have come up with that make it work. Your example being one of them.
mhm.
They take a penalty. In fact,
Like
the
take a -2 to your attack, and in response, like
let me see.
to hit particular part, and you can like do extra damage
Uh,
or something, get some sort of positive effect if you succeed. Um,
Um, so like the fighter battle master has a disarming attack
mm-hmm.
where they can attack spending one of their superiority dice
Mm-hmm.
to um, cause them to be disarmed. Or see, there's gunslinger. Um, there are trick shots you can do, and one of them is um,
Shooting the weapon or
they
something.
have dizzying shots.
Mm-hmm.
They have dead eye shots. I mean, there are classes that have things like that built in where you can target specific things to have a, and you have to. Well, fighters use superiority dice.
Right.
They have to spend.
Right.
Um, so there are things out there.
Hmm.
Actually, gunslingers call it grit, but yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it's just something I was playing around with. Like if I was going to do a DM thing, and again, highly unlikely that I will, because I don't have time. I I don't have time for the things that I'm doing right now, much less other things. That's a whole other story. But yeah, it's just a thought. I'm like, yeah, I kind of I actually really like the D&D 5e system. I understand it pretty well for the most part. Generally, doesn't mean I don't sometimes try and game the system. Um, but I like the cohesive nature of it. I just just for flavoring, I think I'd like a little bit more variation to come about in the combat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing I was also trying to do with Unrug,
Yeah.
because he's not built for combat. He's built for out of combat.
Right.
And so when I was in combat, I was like, well, they're droids. I know how to work droids, so let's jump on them and try to snip some wires.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very, very careful to say snip wires and not pull wires because I'm not strong either.
Right. Yes.
Uh,
I.
and Bubbles was like, "You're so lucky you were so tiny to be able to do that." It was like that was the plan.
This was the point.
It's like if I had been a normal sized creature, I would have known that my hands aren't going to fit inside of the casing of a droid. It's like, but my species for that was literally built for
Mm-hmm.
this purpose. There is a point to my plan.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Brahm could do that. just like walks up to a droid and then like forces himself inside.
You've said that you were going to do that to a B2 unit.
Well, I said after we clean out the internals, but I mean like that'd be like a really devastating kind of attack where it's just like, oh, I am you now.
My body is malfunctioning.
And he's like, flexed himself real good, breaks all the joints. Don't worry about it. I'm just borrowing it for a minute. Gonna take it for a test drive.
Yeah, and then your head pops out of the neck. I'm not going to need that anymore.
Wait, come back.
My body has been stolen. Someone stop him.
Oh. Before we get off of Muppets and D&D.
Yes.
Stuff of Legends.
Stuff of Legends.
The puppet-based D&D adventure.
Yes. I haven't been watching it. I watched that one you sent me, and
they've only had one episode so far.
Okay. Well.
Like that episode aired the day I sent it to you.
Oh. Convenient.
And I'm like, well, I saw some what do you call it? I saw like some trailers and stuff for it because they put out a commercial. Apparently, the channel that's running it has been out for a while, kind of thing. But the campaign that they're doing right now is brand new, which is cool. But man, almost died.
I wish I knew what modifications they were making to the rules.
Yeah, they're definitely doing something else. I'm not sure what, but
because they explicitly say we've dumbed down the rules to make this more enjoyable and easy to film for everybody.
It kind of feels like it's more of a pass-fail system as opposed to. Did you used to watch SourceFed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Did you ever did you follow the whole rabbit trail down from SourceFed to SourceFed Nerd, yada yada, things like that?
Yep.
Did you watch any of their Fungeons and Flagons stuff?
I watched one episode, I think.
Okay. It kind of reminds me a lot of that system where it's like you have if you get a nat 1 or a nat 20, it's a critical success or critical failure. If you get less than 10, it is an automatic failure. If you get a 10 or higher, it's an automatic success. I feel like that is more the case as opposed to, but they are still talking about armor class. So it's somewhere between Fungeons and Flagons and otherwise. My first introduction to anything D&D at all was Fungeons and Flagons. So I guess that's kind of like my basis as to why I'm a lot more permissive with stuff and want more of that. I want to try and do this thing that I probably can't actually do, but let's see if I can roll for it and make it happen anyway, kind of thing. And then I'd be like, absolutely, please do that. That sounds amazing. I want to see that happen too. Which probably says a lot about how broken I am as a player and why I do the stupid things I do. Like I thought for sure as Elam when I tried to pull the mask off of the Returned that was going to cause, if I had succeeded, that was going to cause some sort of, fallout chain reaction kind of thing. Like, oh, the mask is keeping him unalive or undead kind of thing. That seemed like a logical thing to me. I'm like, let's try and see what happens. And Mumbles was totally unprepared for that.
Mumbles doesn't think like that.
I know.
When you first did it, I was like, ooh, I wonder if that would work.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also think like that. Like, I try to think out of the box like that. And when you did it, I was like, oh, would that work? But I think Mumbles was just so thrown off by even the idea of it that he was just like, okay, let's make this DC ridiculous so that he doesn't do this, so I don't have to worry about thinking about it.
Yeah, because I think I ended up rolling like a 17 or something. It's just higher than that. Okay, he did say it was ridiculous, so I guess still
I mean,
reachable.
and in that situation, it probably would be, but I probably would have set it at about 20. Um, and he probably set it a lot higher than that.
I was thinking like 18, but again, I want to see some of this crazy stuff happen. So, and like depending on how charitable I was feeling, I probably might have set it lower than that. Depends on because
But
considering the
technically,
fact that we were in the middle of a scenario which was specifically designed to counteract my character, I probably should have figured out that nothing I was going to do was going to work and just hid.
yeah. So thinking back on it now, I think if I were DMing that, I probably would have given you like made it a lower roll, like a maybe a 16, so maybe your 17 would have worked.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of it happening like you thought it was going to happen, if this thing just falls down dead,
Mm-hmm.
instead now there's a specter looking for a body. That's probably how I would have ruled it.
That would have been kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Sometimes some things you don't know until you try. And I was trying, but oh well. Rip Ellum. Again, this kind of comes down to DM things. If I allow something, I'm going to allow something, and I'm
Yeah.
going to stick by what I say. If I say that you can have this dramatically overpowered weapon, you can have the dramatically overpowered weapon. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Do it. I'm not going to create a scenario that's specifically tailored to frustrate that player, and render them completely useless. And then I'm also not going to forget the conversation that I had with him about how they said they were going to play that, fully acknowledging that you were going to do that in the first place. Another thing that happened. That's why Ellen was so useless, because we talked about how we're going to introduce countermeasures to no piercing damage, and then he forgot how that was supposed to come into play, and he thought I already had them, and I definitely didn't. And then he died.
Yeah. Yeah. So also in that, I 100% would have allowed you to just break off the tips of your arrows,
Mm-hmm.
and they would have done. Um, with it being improvised, I probably would have done half damage with just if you just broke off the tip and shot it,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to just the full blunted damage. But you would have had some use
Mm-hmm.
instead of just being utterly useless.
Yeah, we did. He and I had discussed that. I'm like, can I just break off arrows or something? And he says, no, that's not gonna fly. I says, okay. Um,
But no, that absolutely would have still worked. Like in real life,
yes,
that would have worked.
there is historical evidence for it. I watch a
Yeah.
lot of medieval history
Yeah, I
stuff.
know. I started watching him too. Shut up.
He's so good.
I actually stopped, like I unsubscribed to him after watching several of his videos, um, just because I know why you like him because he's so freaking long-winded and repetitive, and it's just like,
He,
get to the point.
no, but he explains his thought process, and
He
I like
does
that. I
over and
really like
over and
that.
over again. Like he explains it several different times, several different ways.
I like it. I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing. I'm apologizing for not apologizing, but I'm not apologizing for him for liking him. He's so
Oh
good.
no, he's very informative. It's just he's not the style of YouTuber that I can watch.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the style of person that I can watch. You're barely the style of person that I can listen to,
Yeah, that's fair.
and that's only because I can interrupt you. If you were on a YouTube video ranting, then I probably wouldn't.
I mean, it's a good thing you don't have to actually watch these podcasts, isn't it?
I know, right?
Oh, what was it? So while you were watching him, I'm assuming very briefly, did you look at All Into the Shadlands?
The Shadlands. No,
So that is a project that
I
he is.
basically watched um, all of his videos that had to do with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I watched his a couple more of his videos about um, different historical weapons and how they would be used, and a couple of his armor videos. And then I watched actually the last one I watched was where he was ranting about Wonder Woman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really enjoy his content, so that's on me. But he is branching out beyond just YouTube. He's actually written a book. It's called Shadow the Conqueror. I haven't read it. I haven't bought his book. I don't know anything about it. I've heard good things. I'm one of those people who like I am happy with the knowledge that something exists, and I don't actually have to experience it most of the time. Which probably says a lot about me as a character, as just a person in general, and various character flaws that I have. But one of the things that he brings out is not that he brings out. One of the things that he discusses that he's planning to do is he's actually now bought the land for it. Is he's going to build a medieval tourist destination in New Zealand where he lives. He's a New Zealander, not an Australian or anything. And he is saving up money to build a full stone castle with a keep, a wall, a moat, a drawbridge, everything. And he's going to make it a tourist destination in New Zealand. And I'm like, I would pay money to go and do that, because that sounds like, and like he's not going to, like, he has enough land that he's planning to build like 4 separate castles from different periods throughout medieval history. And I'm like, please, like that was when I subscribed to him. I'd been watching him on and off again, but when he announced that, I'm like, I want updates on when this happens, because this is awesome. I want to, whatever this is, I want to be a part of it, because it just sounds so much fun. It does kind of give me an interesting point to bring up about Evermore. Do you think they're going to survive the Taylor Swift lawsuit?
My goodness.
Like the dumbest thing you could have possibly done. But
so I think what their thought process is this COVID thing has ruined us. We are out of money. And then this came out and they were like, hey, an opportunity to maybe make up some of our money.
Exactly.
We'll just sue her.
She
has money.
This is a blatant COVID response cash grab.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
On the other hand,
and you can tell that because they have Twitter posts where they're talking about her song and saying, this right here is driving up our search results because they're searching for Evermore and it pulls up Evermore Park.
Yeah.
But then in the lawsuit, they're like, no, they're hurting. Her song is hurting our profits.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
P.T. Barnum. The only bad publicity is no publicity.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And like, it is so blatant. And you know what? I guess good on them for playing the game well. It's weird that they're playing the game better than Taylor Swift. Like, that's not really something I would ever think of. Like, oh yeah, Taylor Swift is totally going to get owned in a lawsuit by a theme park that's been open for 2 years. But it's really hard at this point for them to lose this lawsuit. I mean, yeah, they're going to lose the lawsuit, but there's not a way for them to really lose on the lawsuit unless the judge orders them to pay damages to her, which is also fairly likely. Because, yeah, it's ridiculous. But I hope they win something, at least get enough people like coming to the park. The park isn't even open, so I don't know. I did some more research on the park, and there's like the guy who started it has done multiple like destination type things. Most of them have been like in Las Vegas, and he's done like some VR stuff. Where it's like you go and you play out a full VR multi-person experience, which sounded awesome. And I wonder if he might not be consulted to some extent on what Disney is doing with their Star Wars hotel, because it sounds like something that'd be right up his alley in terms of actually making it happen. But yeah, I just don't. Like I said, I know exactly what their thought process was. This
Yeah,
is a blatant money grab, and even if they lose the lawsuit, they still win in search results. They might lose in public opinion, but I mean, as long as they get more people who are like, "Oh, that sounds kind of cool. I want to go there,"
yeah.
they win.
As long as they are looking to survive.
Yeah,
That is all they're looking to do.
and
I'm
I'm.
not sure that this is explicitly the correct way to do that, but we're here now, so
It might buy them 6 months, and I think that that's really all it needs to do. I think not to get political, and I'm going to really. There was something that happened this week that made me really. I've been very good on Twitter. Something happened this week. I'm not going to discuss it on here. Something happened on Twitter this week. I posted political for like a day, and I'm not sorry about it. It was too much. I could not stand that. Public gloating is like my line. I cannot deal with public gloating. Too much. Anyway, um, I think if we can get to the end, in terms of Evermore Park, I think if we get to the end of the school season for this year, they very well might be able to make it, because I think a lot of the COVID lockdown, shutdowns, everything like that are going to last through the end of the school year, and then they're going to start to ease up a lot more, and then people will be able to go back to Evermore Park and every other park out there. But I don't see that happening before then. So this might be their bid to buy 6 months to get to June.
yeah, maybe.
And if it works, I am looking forward to going to their park. It sounds like an amazing time. If not, I'm going to be very sad that I didn't get to go. But there's not. We'll have to figure some other means to get our group together, because we need to get our group together. We do. I like the friends I've made online enough to say that I want to spend time with them more than just online. That's not something I can say for some people that I've met in real life. Just as it is, that's not an exaggeration or a joke or anything else. That's just the way it is. um, but yeah, we need to have a time where we can get together and have a proper get together. But
We've done that.
once, and you weren't there.
No, I was totally there.
When?
We went to Disney World.
Oh, you and I. Okay, like I was thinking about the time where like we all went out to like PAX East and we're like, man, Masters didn't come the whole time. No, not the whole time. At least part of it. After a while, we forgot about you.
I just couldn't.
I know. This is also me making a bad joke. Most of it is me making a bad joke.
It's most of all of this.
Are you not entertained? No. Oh, the bad. That is also a bad joke. Oh man, I'm gonna bad roll right now, Masters. Okay. We got WandaVision. We got Muppets. We got D&D. We got a lot of role play. We got Cats. We got Salacious Crumb. What else we got, Masters?
We have. Do you want to talk about everything wrong with Hunchback of Notre Dame?
I only watched it once. And I'm processing your picture you posted in the Discord again. People not joining the Discord. Join the Discord. Find out what that is. That's just wrong, Masters.
At first I was looking at it going, and then I read, and then I looked again. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
clever
girl.
Mm.
Anyway.
But yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, Gabby's gonna love this.
It's one of those like really bad, hurtful jokes that doesn't hurt me the wrong way. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this.
Oh,
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
yeah. I mean, I went into watching it going, okay, how am I going to help Gavi defend this? But then they make a lot of good points in it.
Well,
Although the main point that they don't get right is that Quasimodo is obviously schizophrenic, and the gargoyles are not actually alive. They
yes,
are all in his head.
yes, and they
So
okay. And here's here's the other thing that okay. So I watch a lot of Shadiversity, so I understand some of the things that are going on. Like because he makes a big deal about the end of the film where they pour molten lead out on the guards and everything. That is a
that was an excessive amount of molten lead, though.
yes, it was an excessive amount, and why they had that much molten lead on the top of Notre Dame. Okay, that's they did some research, but not enough, and they were correct. Yes, that would be a royal ish, the king would have to get involved to get that cleaned up. That's a thing. You're not going to just randomly march in 5 minutes later and be like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just molten lead. I'm sure the birth defects won't kick in for another 10, 20 years. Anyway, but that was a real thing that happened. And those sconces that are on the outside of Notre Dame are built for that. It is a fortification. That they got at least that part of history correct. That much molten lead, is that exactly how it works? No. But at least the general idea is correct.
Yeah.
So I think he ragged on that a little bit too hard. Most of the rest of it I didn't have that much of an issue with, but that part I was seething in my chair. I'm like, no, yeah. Yes, but no, but yes, but definitely no. I understand the point you're making, but you are just ignorant on this point. Educate yourself. Watch Shadiversity.
Okay.
I should post at this point. I might as well just post his channel in the Discord because we mentioned him for 10 minutes now.
You had several times before, but yeah,
I know. Can do it again.
So, moving on from that,
mm-hmm.
How upset are you that you didn't get to go watch Lord of the Rings last night?
Well, I mean, I'd have had to drive out of state.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I kind of want to know how digitally remastered it is. Is it Star Wars levels of digitally remastered, or is it just bumped up to 4K?
I think what they probably did is they found a way to actually make it IMAX dimensions. I don't know how they would have done. Well, I mean, really, that in and of itself is very possible for a large number of the scenes because a lot of them are digitally shot. In fact, you might say that Lord of the Rings was the first major motion picture to really get photoreal CG right. I mean, okay, no, I guess take it back. Jurassic Park is the first one to get photoreal CG right. I still believe the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. I believe the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park more than I do in any other sequel since then.
Yeah, but they're not CG. They were practical.
Some of them are CG. The closing shot of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. No, actually, a lot of it is CG. Most of it is CG. There are some practical effects where there's small movements and stuff like the clever girl scene where it comes through the leaves. That's practical.
There are only 4 to 5 minutes. Let's see. Only 4 to 5 minutes of the 14 to 15 total minutes of dinosaur scenes were entirely computer generated.
Entirely. That is a key phrase. Partially, there's a lot of CG in there. You don't expect them to actually have a full field of animatronic dinosaurs that can run along with the actors.
No, those are just monkeys running in reverse.
Yeah. Yes, there was a large scale animatronic T-Rex, but not
as much as I hate Screen Rant. This is their post on it. So.
Yeah. Again, they did the first one did it better than any other one since. and that's just objective. That's not a subjective opinion. That's like, yeah, they got that one right. And yeah, there are some little quirks and flaws. I think Corridor Digital, when they did one of their first VFX Artist Reacts videos, they did the original Jurassic Park, and there is this very famous keyframe that got missed, and one of the velociraptors for a single frame of the video of the movie drops out when it's being put into the T-Rex's jaws at the end of the film. Like, and when it's one velociraptor, it's one frame, and somebody found it, and now it's a big digital effects thing. Like, everybody knows about it. But like, aside from that, which you don't even notice when you're just watching the film, but aside from that, it's like one of the CG holds up, and it is photoreal. Like, you look at name a shot in Jurassic Park that you don't buy into. Where you're looking at it like, oh, that's fake. And then think of Jurassic World.
If I had seen this movie recently, I probably would make a joke, but I haven't. So I can't even think back well enough to make a proper joke.
Like, it's probably been about 3 years since I saw the original Jurassic Park, maybe a little longer. And that doesn't matter for me because I still remember everything with perfect clarity. Haha. And I buy into it. Like, and I know a lot now about CGI, and I know because I've been watching a bunch of stuff and the techniques and stuff on it. Do I know how to do it? No. Do I know how to look for problems with it? Yes. And like, that's the thing.
Jurassic Park 3 is the one that I've seen the most, and that's just because we had it on VHS.
Yeah, Jurassic Park 3, it's okay. It uses a lot of the same technology, but it doesn't have the weight and the gravitas really of the first one. And that part of that is just due to the lesser story. But like, when you look at Jurassic Park, here, let me do this. Let me just throw up some GIFs here. Right. Jurassic Park. All right. And that's not what I was looking for, but I'm so glad I found it. Okay. That's for free. Those not in the Discord, you're missing out. So this is one of the shots I'm actually looking for. Like, yeah, that looks amazing. I still buy, like, even in this GIF, I buy that is a real dinosaur.
That's because it is.
That is a CG shot.
No, that is 100% a real dinosaur.
No, okay, fine. I see what you're doing. But yeah, as opposed to like
look at the lighting on it. We now have ray tracing.
I know. Here's an almost identical shot from Jurassic World a couple years ago, and it looks so much worse. Like,
that's because this is full CG, whereas the one before had practical and CG blended.
I know, but I mean, look at how far we've fallen. Like, pun intended, because that's from Fallen Kingdom. But come on, look at how far we've fallen. It's almost the exact same shot, and it looks terrible in comparison. Oh my word! I just get. It's like, okay, yeah, there's probably a billion more polygons in the new one. It looks just flat and uninteresting compared to, like, there's. I feel emotion when I look at the one from 1992. I look at this other one, I'm like, oh, okay, there's a dinosaur, it's roaring. Oh, look, he has ribs. Yay. I don't care about his ribs. I want to feel what the first one makes me feel. You feel terror when you see when you see that T-Rex in Jurassic Park. It's like, rawr, and like, I also laugh a lot when I see the first GIF that I posted. It's just I like that one. It makes me happy. That might be my new favorite GIF of all time. I can't imagine anything better than that. That is so perfect. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna try and get off of that, but it's so good. But yeah,
And so moving on once again.
moving right
Uh,
along.
yeah. So I've put a lot more thought into my campaign that I'm starting
Mm-hmm.
since we talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Off podcast, so
Nothing.
people on the podcast are, hey,
Yeah.
this is new.
Yeah. So nothing I can really talk about on podcast, but
Masters,
it's
masters,
gonna be interesting. Yeah.
masters. I should probably
Uh-huh.
let you know about this. I don't know if you're aware of this, but just in case you aren't, none of the people who are going to be playing in your podcast actually listen to this, or no, playing in your campaign. Oh,
That's not true.
who?
Broke butt.
Does she still listen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she may not be caught up, but
I don't know.
I don't know. She may not even listen to this one until later, but theoretically, she still listens.
Got me. Broke butt, if you're still listening, let us know somehow. Send up a flag. Light a signal fire. Send up a smoke signal. I don't know. Something.
Let's see here. Oh, let's talk about how much I hate Mojo.
Oh, Watch Mojo?
Like I hated them. I hated them before. Now I hate them even more.
Why was this?
Their Pixar movies ranked.
Oh, I forgot I sent that to you. Oh, I don't even remember what the list was, but it was bad. It was bad. It was so bad.
Fury.
I know. Cars 3 is the second worst of all time. Like, nope. Nope.
Not even close. Let's see if they have it.
Let's see if I can open this up without. Oh, okay. Sorry about the little extra sound, folks. I'm trying to work with limited technology. Mute site. All right.
No, I could. They need to have a link to where you can
skip around.
Go and actually.
Yeah, I don't see anything else here. So yeah.
Okay, so their number one was Cars 2.
No,
Okay.
their number 23 was Cars 2. Let's be honest.
Number 23.
Get this right.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, you're right. Their number 23 was Cars 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Their number 22 was Cars 3,
which I disagree with.
I 100% disagree with
I
that.
think Cars 3 is very serviceable. Is it great?
Yeah.
Not by my estimation.
It's not great. It's not perfect. It has its flaws, but it is a good film. It is definitely better than at least the next 5 that they talk about.
Okay, the next one after that is The Good Dinosaur,
21, Good Dinosaur. That should have been number 22 easily.
Then they go Monsters University.
Monsters University. That is dead wrong.
I think that should be a little higher. Yeah. Then they
it has flaws with it. Most of which we knew before the movie even released, just because of the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
With the inconsistencies in the timeline.
I will say this: they did make me want to go back and rewatch Good Dinosaur because I didn't pay enough. I don't think I paid enough attention to the score, and they mentioned how good it was, and I'm like, and then they played a sampling, and I'm like, yeah, that is actually really good. I should go back and rewatch it just for the score, but that's not yeah. I think Finding Dory is not good.
Yes, Finding Dory is definitely bottom 3.
I think they underrated Brave. I think they
definitely underrated Brave. They underrated
Onward.
See, what was another one they had? Incredibles 2.
Yeah, Incredibles. I'll give them a little bit of a pass on Incredibles 2 because it basically was just a complete retread of Incredibles 1.
Yes, but it's better than some of the ones they put ahead of it.
Yes, it's better. It's definitely better than A Bug's Life.
Yes, absolutely better than A Bug's Life. About the time they get up to Toy Story 4, I was like, okay, they're starting to get on board But then they came out with number 13 is A Bug's Life. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
A Bug's Life's not even better than its competitor, Ants.
right. Ants is way better than Bug's Life. And here's the
Way
other
better.
and here's the other thing. They get their source material wrong on A Bug's Life. Like they're like, oh, it's from this and from that and the other. I'm like, y'all don't even understand. This is Seven Samurai. It just is. They're like, there's 7 of them. They come this they're missed. Yeah, it's Seven Samurai with a little touch of Three Amigos, and outside like that is what this is. And they're like, it's just from this and from that and from the other. I'm like, no, you guys literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then they put Toy Story 2 behind Toy Story 3.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. Like they put it a
No.
long way behind Toy Story.
Oh yeah, a long way behind. Like they put nostalgia.
Oh, and they put Finding Nemo in front of Incredibles.
Yeah, yeah.
And everything else. Like,
oh, and they have Soul at number 11.
Yeah. Nope.
And they have Coco at number 10.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And
no.
I understand their nostalgia thing about putting Toy Story at number 1.
Yeah.
But
it's 100% nostalgia.
Yeah,
100%.
It's like
it is not the best movie Pixar has ever put out.
Not even close. And like, hey, I've told a very touching story about how I was 6 years old getting out of class, and this was the movie that I got to see, and it was like a very rare, special thing, and that was a very special, important, nostalgic memory for me. Even I understand that Toy Story is not the best Pixar film of all time. You don't aside from Orson Welles, people typically don't peak right out of the gate. I mean, he never made another Citizen Kane.
You were probably happy with their position for Up. They have it at number 3.
But what did they put at number 2? Wall-E?
Wall-E.
Yeah. Okay. But again, those lost out to Toy Story.
Yeah. And they shouldn't have.
They shouldn't have. No.
Toy Story is definitely top 10, but it is not number 1.
I might even put it at 11. I think I did put it actually at 11 when we did our list a while back. Like, I don't even know how far back. I don't even know if I want to scroll through all this to go try and find it here. It's a while ago, but
it wasn't that long ago. Actually,
there's a lot of stuff that gets posted in here.
Yeah, but it wasn't that long ago.
Where is it? I don't even know. That's all the broke butt stuff. That's a lot. Oh, there we go. Found it. All right. So my list put the original Toy Story at number 5. Okay. I guess I actually rated it higher than I thought I did. Mine was Up, Wall-E, Incredibles, Toy Story 2, Toy Story, Inside Out, Coco, Ratatouille, Onward, Toy Story 3, Brave, Toy Story 4, Cars 3, Monsters Incorporated. Yeah. And I'm looking at this.
At number 9.
I'm looking at this now. And I'm like, man, I kind of disagree with some of my own options here. Like, man, I think I would have put Monsters Incorporated higher. I would have.
And to be fair, we didn't make these lists. We used a thing that we chose between A and B.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. So this isn't technically a true to life ranking.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, Cars is higher than I would have put it. Incredibles 2 is actually Incredibles 2 is probably about right. Finding Nemo, I guess I have some nostalgia for that, but not like to put it at number 4 or whatever these wackos did. Yeah, they put it number was it number 3 or number 4? Number 4. And I'm like, no way is that number 4. Like you smoking something.
Yeah. See, where do they put Incredibles? Their Incredibles are
number 5? Yeah, number 5.
No, 2. Sorry, Incredibles 2.
Oh, Incredibles 2 is number. It's way down there, just above Brave. It 17. Is 17.
They
yeah,
have it at 17.
For me, that's Cars.
Have it at 14.
17 for you is Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
Oh. yeah, there's just I don't. Why watch Mojo? I'm beginning to think like they are in that PT Barnum phase where like the only bad publicity is no publicity, so they're just throwing out random crap to make people upset.
All of these channels that this group has
Mm-hmm.
um, are just they're all horrible like that.
It's
I stopped watching them years ago.
So did I, but this like just randomly popped up in my feed. I'm like, oh, okay, well, or it wasn't even in my YouTube feed; it was in my Google feed. I'm like,
No,
20?
if that had ever popped up in my recommendation,
Uh-huh.
I'd have been like, no, not even gonna watch it because I know I'm gonna be mad when I finish.
It was kind of like, oh, I had
It
this.
was actually kind of impressive that they made me mad within the first 5 seconds. So, I mean, kudos to them.
It is also kind of like the most interesting thing about this film, aside from how angry it made me, was that they actually showed the face of the girl who's been doing the voice for like 6 years or 7 years, whatever it is now. I'm like, oh, I guess that's what she looks like. Okay. That was as far as I got, and then I just watched the rest of it. I'm like, oh, no, why? Although I do definitely have to go back and rewatch Good Dinosaur just for the track, for the soundtrack, because I don't feel like I gave that proper credence, proper attention.
Yep.
Why do they try to hurt me? What?
We've managed to yell at the internet for an hour and a half now. 2 hours and a half, 2.5 hours.
Yeah. I mean, actually, we spent the first half an hour not talking. We were typing.
We were talking. We just were talking about what we were typing.
One of us was talking, kind of halfway when he wasn't typing.
There wasn't a lot of dead space. It's fine.
There's a bit. And I mean, it's not to say that it was fully dead space. It was, you heard a lot of.
So my point is,
yes.
You got anything else?
I'm trying to think if there's something else. I mean, I feel like I could be angry at bad CGI for a second longer, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, have you seen any of the half trailers for the High Republic?
I don't watch trailers.
Yeah. I feel like I shouldn't either at this point, although I definitely am going to keep still doing it for some stuff. But Star Wars is making me angry again, because there is a rumor going on that in Lucasfilm there is a civil war happening between the Kathleen Kennedy side and the Dave Filoni side. And there's becoming a lot more evidence about this, and there's an even greater preponderance of evidence to say that Kathleen Kennedy is definitely going to lose. Which she is providing herself with trailers for her new big project, The High Republic. Which, on the one hand, sounds cool, because it's talking about, Star Wars in a different era. It's kind of a bygone era where it's like 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. And unfortunately, they can't help themselves, and everything I hear about it just makes it sound like the most bland, uninteresting possible version of Star Wars, where every character fits the archetype of being a Mary Sue. Nothing can possibly go wrong. And it's just like the most scripted, curated, overly sanitized version of Star Wars there could possibly be. And it's not that it angers me, it just disappoints me every time I see it. I'm like, I am a very big Star Wars fan. I'm not going to say that I'm the biggest, but I'm a very big Star Wars fan. And I like the world, and I like the lore, and I like the characters, and I like the mythos, and the magic system, and everything else around it. And I have little to no interest at all in what this turns into. And that saddens me, that they have allowed this property, which I have a lot of affinity for, to come to a point of its creative cycle where I have no interest in that part. Filoniverse, I'm all on board. I want Bad Batch, I want Ahsoka, I want everything that he has his hands in. The High Republic, like, I feel like the Grinch song is not sufficient to say 39.5-foot pole. Can I get another 5 inches, please? Like, this is not. It just doesn't sound appetizing, appealing, interesting at all. Every character that I hear of is bland. Every twist that they're trying to build up, it's bland. The dark side bad guys, it's bland. And they're trying to do, and it sounds bland at the same time as they're trying to hype it up as being the biggest, the most powerful, the most egregious threat ever. And I'm like, no, it's not. And it just, I thank God for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Without those two guys, it would be kind of a dour setting. But at least with, I mean, not to say that their setting is all sunshine and rainbows, but considering how dour and I mean, like, there's some dark stuff happening in the Filoniverse side of things. What does she despise you for?
Don't know. Did I
Click to see attachment.
Oh, because she hates spiders.
Oh, like, what is she gonna do? Anyway, but yeah, aside from how dark and disturbing the Filoniverse side is, like, it's actually like really good stuff, and it makes me excited. Which is probably weird to say. I'm excited to see how, Boba Fett is gonna kill a bunch of people and come December, because he's definitely gonna kill a bunch of people in December. Already done that, and he's going to do it a whole lot much more, and I can't wait to see it. As opposed to being like the High Republic, where it's like, I have zero interest whatsoever. This doesn't, it's just, it seems flat, boring, and uninteresting. And I have nothing more to say to it, so, yeah. If someone else maybe out there watching SAS, I don't know if you've seen any of their stuff, maybe you have a different take on it, I would love to hear it. Masters hasn't watched any of the trailers, which is probably good for him. Maybe if anything comes out and it ends up being... I mean, there's two ways to look at this. Number one, my expectations for this are rock bottom. Like, absolute rock bottom. I expect to not like anything that would come out of there, and I'm largely planning on skipping it. Like, I had low expectations going into Solo, and I actually ended up really like Solo. And I went to go see Solo. My expectations are lower than that. I don't really expect that I will go see anything that comes out that's High Republic, because it just doesn't sound interesting. Like the idea of the High Republic sounds cool. The execution that they are presenting of them as themselves as doing sounds completely. I don't want to have. I don't want to give them my money. So yeah. Anyway. I will. Wow. Yeah, please. The one you sent to me.
It was the third GIF that popped up, and I almost clicked it. But I was like, no, let's find a different one.
Like, that's my only response to that, Masters. That's my only response to that.
I am curious, and I am sickened. The perfect response.
It fits so many things. We did not deserve Johnny Bravo. We still don't deserve Johnny Bravo. Although we may have become Johnny Bravo.
I am very, very confused.
About?
Apparently, Fielder's Choice just got engaged. I didn't know he wasn't married.
Yeah, I assumed he was.
I did too.
Huh.
He just posted a picture of presumably his fiance's hand with the ring on, and says, "In front of our kids and her family, she said yes."
Assume nothing, apparently. It's 2021, man. People don't do it the way they used to. I'm going to leave that there.
You probably should.
Before I go off on a rant. Yeah. Anyway. Wrap it up there, Masters.
I got nothing else.
All right. I got stuff I could talk about, but you don't have the context for it, so it would be a one-sided conversation. Not that everything else isn't. Well, okay, so not everything else is, but yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching, listening, tuning in, whatever your preference is, wherever you are. If it is your first time here and you made it to the end of the episode, we strongly recommend, well, the number one, that you seek mental professional help. But after that, if you enjoyed what you listened to, please feel free to leave a subscription or like down below, comment. We like all those. I read all the comments, react to them, respond to some of them. Sometimes I'm not sure what to respond, and I go, that was a thing, wasn't it? Most of those are from SAS. In fact, I think all of our comments are from SAS, but that's a whole other story.
Not all of them. We did have one other that I noticed, and it was a person that said second after SAS said first.
Oh, I know him too.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one of my former Sunday school kids.
That makes it less exciting.
That was one of my, well, maybe, I mean, depending on how you term excitement, it made it a lot more exciting to me because I'm like, why is he watching this? That's a whole other story.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he just popped in, put second, and then left.
Still counts as a viewer. He still counts as a view by the YouTube algorithm. We got him. Anyway, yeah. Thank you all for watching. We do appreciate you coming by, listening into whatever it is that we have here. Totally understand if you didn't make it past the first 30 minutes, because I barely made it past the first 30 minutes too. We look forward to doing more of these in the future. I guess looking forward is probably not the right word. Maybe some sort of like chagrin kind of thing should be communicated there, as opposed to excitement and or anticipation. But either way, again, like, subscribe, comment, share. Shares are most important because that's how we will potentially grow someday. And if you don't like somebody, you can infect their timeline with disease by giving them a taste of what the World Tours podcast is. And with that being said, I guess we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.